On one particularly cold winter evening, Michael was locking up his garage when he noticed an older woman sitting alone at the bus stop across the street. She was shivering, her thin coat barely shielding her from the cold. Her grocery bags were torn, and cans were rolling near her feet. People walked past her without slowing down. Michael hesitated for a moment. He had had a long, exhausting day. But something inside him wouldn't let him walk away. He approached her. "Ma'am, are you all right?" he asked gently. The woman looked up, her eyes tired but kind. "I'm fine, dear, just waiting for the bus. It's been an hour. I think I missed the last one." Michael noticed her shoes were worn out, and her hands were trembling. She reminded him of his late mother, strong but tired. "Come on," he said quietly. "Let me drive you home." At first she refused, but Michael insisted. He picked up her groceries, fixed the torn bag, and helped her into his truck. On the drive, she told him her name was Evelyn Parker, a 68-year-old retired schoolteacher living alone. Her husband had passed away years ago, and her children lived out of state. She didn't want to bother anyone, so she handled things on her own, even when it was hard. Michael dropped her off at her small house and even carried her groceries inside. Before he left, Evelyn held his hands and said, "Thank you, son. You have no idea what this means to me." Michael smiled softly, but he didn't think much of it. To him, it was just a small good deed, helping someone who needed it. But that good deed would soon return to him in ways he never expected. A week later, Michael's life took a hard turn. The garage where he worked announced it was shutting down due to financial problems. Overnight, he lost his job, and panic set in. Rent was due, bills were piling up, and he had no savings to fall back on. He applied everywhere, dealerships, repair shops, even part-time jobs, but nothing seemed to come through. One morning, while staring at an eviction notice on his door, Michael felt helpless. He had hit rock bottom. Just then, his phone rang. It was Evelyn. She said, "Michael, could you stop by? I have something to show you." Still confused but hopeful for distraction, he drove to her house. When he arrived, she stood waiting on the porch with an envelope in her hand. "I know you're struggling," she said softly. "And I want to help." Inside the envelope was a letter and a check, not small, but life-changing. Michael froze. "Evelyn, I can't take this." But Evelyn shook her head. "Years ago, my husband and I opened a small trust fund for teachers who needed repair services. After he passed, the fund was never used. And I realized, maybe it wasn't meant for them. Maybe it was meant for someone who showed kindness without expecting anything back." Her voice trembled as she said, "Your good deed didn't just help me that night, it reminded me that good people still exist. Please let me bless you the way you blessed me." Michael's eyes filled with tears. He hadn't cried in years, but in that moment, he couldn't hold them back. With her support, he didn't just pay his rent, he opened his own small auto repair shop, something he had dreamed of for years but never believed he could achieve. Months passed, and the shop became successful. Customers loved him for his honesty and kindness, qualities that came naturally to him. But the biggest blessing wasn't the shop. It was Evelyn, who became like family. Every Sunday, she'd visit the shop with homemade cookies, and Michael would joke that she was his second mother. One evening, after closing the shop, Michael turned off the lights and stood outside watching the sunset. He remembered the cold night when he helped her at the bus stop. A simple good deed. A small moment that cost him nothing. But it returned to him like a miracle. He whispered to himself, blessings really do come back.